Erev Asara B'Tevet, I want to deal with the laning. Is it an anti-Halachik Odyssey? Now, I want to make clear, laning on a fast day is part and parcel of a fast day. For example, in the book of Nehemiah, it talks about the fact that Esvu b'nei Yisrael b'tzom, for some reason or another, they got together to fast, and as a matter of fact, 2 psukim later it says, Vayikru b'sefer Torah Hashem, that they read in the book of Hashem, namely laning. So laning is part of a fast day. But there are 4 issues regarding the laning of a fast day that seem to go against halachic behavior in general. And let's go through them very quickly and see the answers. Number 1, the choice of what to lane. The Mishna in Megillah is very explicit. Aliyot, brachot, veklalot. You lane the blessings and the curses. It can be those in Bechukotai or those in Parshat Kitavo. However, in Masechet Sofrim, Perek Yud Zayin, subdivision Hey, it does say that on other fast days outside of Tisha B'Av, you read you lane Vayechal. Well, what do? We have a Mishnah against a Masechet Sofrim. You would say we paskin like the Mishnah, but Tosfot points out in Masechet Megillah, Anu nohagim, our custom is like Masechet Sofrim. We read Vayechal from Parshat Kitisa, Ta'aniyot, even though B'matnitin in the Mishnah, Amrinan Shekarin Brachot V'Klalot, you read the blessings and the curses. And this is the way the Shulchan Aruch paskins, V'korin Vayechal B'Shacharis or V'Mincha. It seems like, number 1, the choice of laning is against the Mefurish Mishnah. And I believe that this is one of the many examples that we've discussed in which the custom is far more powerful than the written word. The choice of what we lane on a fast day is one of those many examples. Number 2, we do something we never do, and that is we skip in the middle of laning. Usually we lane straight. It could be 1 aliyah, it could be 7 aliyahs, but we don't skip around in laning. It's because the Mishnah says in Maseches Megillah, and medalgin b'Torah. Rashi explains, Sha'ashomea et ha'kofetz mimakom lemakom, and libo miyushav lishmoa. If you start jumping around, you're not going to be concentrated. So based on this, how exactly on a fast day do we read the first aliyah, and then we jump ahead in the Torah for the second and third aliyah? Well, there are 2 answers given. The first answer is the Shulchan Aruch himself, even though he paskins en medalgin b'Torah. He says, Hanimile b'shteinyanim. That's if you go ahead and you jump around from one issue to another issue. Say you're laning about Yom Kippur, and you go ahead and you start talking about Pesach. Because maybe the people will get mixed up. Aval, he says, in one topic, kegon, like you read Acharemot on the morning of Yom Kippur, which talks about the sacrificial work of the grand Kohen in the temple. And then you read Va'ach Ba'asor, a few parshas later in Parshat Emor, it talks about Yom Kippur again. In such a case, medalgin, because you're talking about Yom Kippur, that's the subject matter. You're not going from subject matter to subject matter, and therefore you can go ahead and skip around. So therefore, on a fast day, since we're talking about Chet HaEgel in the laning, and we start with the actual news to Moshe that the Jewish people sinned, and then we skip to the atonement for that sin. It's the same subject matter, and there shouldn't be a problem. This is the opinion of one of the Rishonim, the Meiri, that says, with regard to one subject matter, you can jump around even in laning from the Torah. And he gives the example of Yom Kippur, and he adds our example. We go from Vayechal Moshe, and we jump ahead to Psolecha for the second Aliyah, and that's the way the Mishnah Berurah paskins for the same reason. It's one subject matter. The Pri Megadim, however, brings a second answer that you're allowed to jump around because inami trei gavrei, because it's 2 different Aliyahs. We never found such a heter that if it's 2 different Aliyahs you can jump around, but that's what the Pri Megadim says. So going from the choice of laning to skipping around, let's go to the third issue. We all of a sudden in the middle of laning say certain things out loud. We say Shuv Micharon HaPecha out loud, we say the 13 attributes of mercy out loud, and then we say Vayomer Hashem Salachti Kidvarecha out loud. We never do that. But this is an ancient custom. If I can just quote from the Chidah, the Chazan is quiet, everyone says it, and then he reads it. And that's what basically we do in shul, and the question is, why? So, The Kloisenberger Rebbe was one of the only Rebbeim that actually wrote a responsum on halacha called Divrei Yatziv. And he's debating why these psukim are different than the rest of the Torah. On the one hand, it brings the famous Gemara in Rosh Hashanah that says these are the 13 attributes of mercy. God promised Moshe, anytime the Jewish people sin, you say these, or to be more precise, you do what it says, being merciful and whatnot, and you will be forgiven. But on the other hand, he brings a Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer that says that at the actual time when Moshe got these 13 attributes of mercy, Hitchil Moshe tzoek bekol gadol, ve'omer Hashem Hashem kerachum v'chanan, etc. And Moshe says to God, Ribon kol olamim, sach nak la'avon ha'am hazeh. Please forgive them for the sin of the golden calf. And God has a certain conversation with Moshe, and eventually, salachti kidvarecha. So whether it's this reason or that reason, the bottom line is, these things were not just written in the Torah. God instructed us either to say it in order to get atonement, or Moshe himself screamed it out. So to reenact it, that's what we do on fast days. We say them out loud. Well, why is it that the Chazan doesn't say it with the congregation? The Mishnah Berurah Paskins, as the Chidah said earlier, that the people that say it are the congregation, but ha'olela Torah, v'chen ha'chazan koreh, and omer otam psukim im ha'kahal. They don't say it with the congregation. They wait till the congregation says it, and then they say it. Why? 3 reasons given. The Sefer Hasidim, quoted by the Magen Avram in one of his answers, is saying them as a request, as a petition to God, and the laner is laning. So we have to divide between the two. The second answer the Magen Avraham gives in the name of a book called Tuf, Rashi Tevot Hey, could be the Trumat Hadeshin. I looked, I couldn't find it, but whatever it might be, he says very simply, we cannot read the Torah by heart. You have to read it from inside the Torah. And ultimately, the congregation is not doing that. So the congregation can do what they want, but the laner has to lane it from the Torah in order to fulfill the obligation for everyone else. And that's the answer the Mishnah Berurah actually likes. After everyone says it, the laner continues as if he didn't say it, because he shouldn't. So everyone hears it from the Torah itself. Finally, Rav Yaakov Emden brings a third answer. That we have the old problem we spoke about, Kol psuke de lo paskinan, Moshe anan lo paskinan. We're not allowed to break a pasuk in the middle. But we do that. We say Hashem Hashem karachum v'chanan, we complete the pasuk, but then the second pasuk, we stop in the middle. Noseh chesed alafim, noseh avon v'hafesha v'chata'a v'nakei, and we conk out. But the pasuk actually goes on v'nakei. So therefore, in order to overcome that problem, the Baal Korah, in his opinion, should say it with the congregation and then repeat it so that he says the full pasuk. Well, that's not the common practice today. He just says it alone after the congregation. But it's in order to go ahead and solve that problem. To end off, why is it that we say psukim out loud in the Aliya of Kohen, in the Aliya of Yisrael, but not in the Aliya of Levi? So a lawyer in Israel by the name of Tzvika Ehrenberg wrote a beautiful book that I have in my hand called Al Minhag Shabbat V'Chag. He talks about the various customs that we do on Shabbos and Yontivs and whatnot, and he has a column in the weekly called Shabbaton. And in there, he quoted a book I wasn't familiar with called Sefer Matamim. Author is Rabbi Mordechai Lippitz, and Rabbi Lippitz says the reason is Aaron HaKohen sinned at the sin of the golden calf that we read about on a fast day, as did the Jewish people. Shevet Levi did not. And therefore, in their aliyahs, we need more petition. We need to say those psukim out loud. In the Aliya of Levi, there's no reason to. They didn't sin.